Hello plant friends, my name is Victoria and you're watching Plantastics. Today we are in the Kew Gardens plant shop and we're just going to be walking around and seeing what all they have in their selection. When you first come in, if you're coming in from the larger shop that doesn't have as many plants, you can see some calatheas, we've got some peace lilies, beautiful African violets that are in full bloom, and I'm presuming the other plant is a primrose. Not entirely sure. We've got some Monstera donzi broadleaf. And then here's their policy. Basically, if you purchase a plant from the shop, you need to have it in a sealed bag to prevent pests from getting into their collections. Like, this is a botanical garden, so that's just to prevent like potential pests like thrips and whatnot, because if you've ever had them, you know they're kind of hard to get rid of. Here we have some begonias and these pretty flowers. We've got some spiky begonias and fancy potatoes. Yeah, don't really own one of those. They look cool, but I've just seen a lot of people fuss with them, and I'm not for fussy at all. I've got some beautiful silver blush, I think it is, anthuriums. Here are some alocasias. This is a really interesting alocasia I'd never seen before. It looks super cool. And then they have so many different seeds and whatnot. These are just more kind of the same plants we saw earlier. More seeds. And then here is the money shot. These are unbelievably beautiful. I've never actually seen these in person. I believe they're related to African violets. I'm pretty sure I've seen some in competitions. So outside they had some really nice dahlias. They had some hydrangeas here and some other plants that I've honestly not seen before. I've seen that kind of hydrangea. They literally have star petals. They're like serrated. We've got a little bit more. So they actually had, I think that's a primrose. They actually had tree ferns for sale. And my biggest regret in traveling to Europe for 5 weeks and coming back is I did not come home with one of these. I just thought, this is going to be kind of hard to package. And like looking back, I just really wish that I had one. It was just such a beautiful sight. They had full-size ones in their different gardens, and they are literally tree ferns. They are tree-sized ferns that get humongous, okay? Humongous. So these are kind of just like gardening plants. We've got some peonies and roses. Lots of beautiful roses. They're so large that they look like peonies, but they're not. But geez, look how beautiful that rose is. And it smelled lovely with all the flowers out there. So I got excited when I walked and turned around because I saw they had more tree ferns. And these were probably something that I could have purchased and put in my suitcase. But I've never really traveled with something that large. I think it's probably easy to travel with plants, like if you're flying domestically, but internationally, I know you have to have certain paperwork. So these were their clearance plants. There was this type of jasmine that was at the Amsterdam Botanical Garden, and it was really pretty, and I kind of wanted to get that. Here are some orchids. That's the iron plant. If you didn't know the history on that, that's what people had in the Victorian time period. It was kind of like a flex to have one, kind of like the Monstera Thai constellations are kind of a flex, but becoming one decreasingly so because everybody's got one now. But yeah, the iron plant used to be a flex to own because it just was really popular and there wasn't enough demand. So they have a lot of pots and whatnot. They've got gloves. They've got just different tools. And then this is the large shop. So this is probably where you're going to enter. And they have plants just kind of throughout the entire shop. They have some seeds. They have some really cute hats and bags. I ended up getting a bag and a t-shirt. And the t-shirt basically says, "The future is botanic." This is really pretty. They kind of had some pricey plants, but they kind of had them up and out of the way. Here were some more plants. They have some bromeliads. Here is a calathea that's blooming. More orchids. Orchids are so beautiful. People buy them. And we have some calla lilies. We got some crinkle fern. Some succulents. I was most surprised by their selection of like cacti and stuff. So they had more violets over towards this way. And they had even more pots. So I really love those textured ones. Of course, I would never make it home with that in my suitcase, so I didn't even bother really looking at those. These are so odd looking, those. I'd never seen these before either. There's some type of bell plant. There's a desert rose. I have one of those. Actually, I have two. One's a graft. So this begonia is absolutely beautiful. I was most tempted to get this one because I'd never seen one like that before. And more of these beauties. They got some air plants. Look at their violets. They weren't name varieties, but that doesn't make them less beautiful. And that pretty much is it. So be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.